it'd be one thing if he said, I'm glad she's here because she did this, or she read this, she wrote this book, and I read it, and I thought it was really good, or anything. She's a great cook. She cooked us a meal last night. I'm really glad she was here to do that. Anything to make it a little less creepy than it was. I like having a girl in the room with me, is what that sounded like. It was so weird.
Joe Biden, when you think of him, the first thing you think of is super sharp as a tack.
Right there.
Incredibly just ready to lead this country. He showed that
My
again.
blood pressure is going up during this episode of WJ Live. Each one of these stories is like,
I know. So he showed again how sharp he is. This Monday, he was meeting with the outgoing Israeli president, whose name is Reuven Rivlin, and he made another one of his Biden-esque sort of awkward comments. I think we have a clip of that we're going to show here.
Well, I'm really happy to have President Rivlin here, and it's not technically appropriate, but I'm so delighted his daughter is here. She's in the back right there. And I got to meet her and talk about our kids and grandkids and all the like.
So he says, I know it's not incredibly appropriate for me to say this, but I'm really glad that the Israeli president's daughter is here. What is...
Do you not have anybody working for you, Mr. President?
That's my question. Do you not have somebody who's saying like, hey, you have a kind of a reputation of being a little bit creepy with women. Maybe you should not mention female family members when it's completely irrelevant to the conversation.
Like he always says, oh no, I'm going to get in trouble.
Right. Maybe that's a sign that you shouldn't say whatever you think you're about to say.
If you have to say, I don't think this is super appropriate, why say it? Like, do you think this is Biden being genuinely creepy? Do you think he's just an old man who doesn't really know what he's saying? What is the motivation for these comments?
Yes. I think he is genuinely creepy and an old man. And he said that I think the word he used was technically. I think he said this is not technically appropriate. What diplomats call what they do? How they describe themselves in the State Department? Technicians. That's literally what they call themselves. That it's a compliment. This guy's a skilled diplomatic technician. It's the number one job of diplomacy when you're talking to foreign dignitaries, to be technically disciplined, to be technically appropriate. It's not an excuse that you're not technically appropriate, and it's okay because it's just crazy Uncle Joe. No, that's job one. It's literally job one. It's job one, and he failed. I don't know what
he always does. It's just embarrassing to America to watch this.
They're the ones telling us now we have adults back on foreign policy. I got nothing.
That's what's crazy to me is that the picture that the White House paints of Joe Biden is like, oh, he's so normal. He's super duper normal, like the most normal president ever. Like, this is not normal. Like making comments about president's daughters, like sniffing people's hair like we've seen in the past. That's not normal behavior at all.
Barack Obama was literally more normal, far more normal than Joe Biden was. And I was no Obama fan, but when it comes to things like this, holy cow. This is the guy who's supposed to restore America's position on the world stage. And and we're going to do that by commenting on dignitaries' daughters.
And if I was the daughter, as already being a daughter, I would be so uncomfortable if someone said that about me.
Yeah, you should be.
So uncomfortable. And so now the Israelis are going to leave with, you made my daughter uncomfortable. That's what they're going to think of America and Joe Biden.
It'd be one thing if he said, I'm glad she's here because she did this, or she read this, she wrote this book, and I read it, and I thought it was really good, or anything. She's a great cook. She cooked us a meal last night. I'm really glad she was here to do that. Anything to make it a little less creepy than it was. I like having a girl in the room with me, is what that sounded like. It was so weird.